Insert epic hook here. What's up, Greymains? It's Dams here with another Crimson Desert guide. So, if you've been running around wondering where your Abyss gear is actually supposed to come from, or you've got some pieces but you are not sure if they're in the right slots, don't worry. In this guide, I'm going to walk you through what Abyss gear does, how to farm it early game, exactly where each piece should go, and I'll show you my personal setup, so you can see what's working for me. Let's jump straight into it. The best way to think about Abyss gears is through an analogy. If you have ever played Final Fantasy, you will know exactly what materia are. Those little shiny orbs that you slot into your weapons and armor, to add abilities and stats. Abyss gears are exactly that. They are Crimson Desert's version of materia. Now, I want to clear up something first, because when I heard the term Abyss gear for the first time, I assumed these were some kind of endgame armor. They are not. Abyss gears are these socketable objects. Physical items that you embed directly into your weapons and armor to enhance them and power them up. Every piece of gear in the game comes with slots built into it, and those are your Abyss gear slots. Here's what they actually do. When embedded in equipment, some Abyss gears give you entirely new combat abilities, special attacks you would not have otherwise. Others boost your stats directly, like critical hit rate, attack speed, and attack. There are also ones that give a boost to other mechanics, like eating food. Now, Abyss gears also have Affinity. Not every gear works in every slot. Each Abyss gear is logged to specific equipment types. Take Insight 1, for example. It can only go into weapons, gloves, or footwear, whereas Haste 1 can go in any armor piece, but not weapons. On top of that, most Abyss gears come in 3 tiers. For example, Insight 1, Insight 2, and Insight 3. The higher the tier, the stronger the effect. Now, chances are you have already looted some equipment that came with Abyss gears already embedded in it. That's actually how most players first encounter them. But to actually get into the Abyss gear systems properly, you need to push through the story until Chapter 3. That's when you get access to Shadow's Whisper Cave, which is just north of Hernand. Inside, you will find Sylvia, a witch in training, and she is basically your first witch. Now, here's why witches matter so much. Abyss gears and witches completely go hand in hand. Witches are the only ones in the game who can open sockets on your equipment, extract Abyss gears that are already embedded, and embed new ones. You can't do any of that without them. And as you keep progressing through the witches faction questline, you will meet 4 more witches along the way, giving you the possibility to buy blueprints and craft Abyss gears from scratch. Now, I won't be going over the witches' locations in this video, that's a whole separate video on its own. But there is one thing worth mentioning before we move on. Each of the other 4 witches has her own speciality when it comes to Abyss gear blueprints. Elowen focuses on gears that boost your HP, stamina, and sustain. Bari is all about movement speed and attack speed. Lysalia is your go-to for defense, and Aresiel covers attack and crit. Now, let's get into how you actually get Abyss gears. As I mentioned earlier, the majority of them come already attached to weapons and armor you loot. From mobs, bosses, chests, all of that. But these Abyss gears fall into one of 2 categories, unique and standard. Unique Abyss gears are the named ones, things like Ator's Orb or Ground Surge. These usually add special abilities directly to your attacks. Standard Abyss gears, on the other hand, have more common names, like Aegis, Haste, Insight, Swift. And they boost your stats like movement speed, attack speed, and critical hit rate. Now, this distinction actually matters because the category determines whether the gear can be upgraded to a higher tier. Unique Abyss gears don't have tiers, so you cannot upgrade them, whereas standard Abyss gears can be upgraded all the way up to tier 3. And that's exactly what I want to cover next. Crafting, synthesis, and special synthesis. Now, before you can craft anything, you need blueprints, and those blueprints are bought directly from the witches. Here's a quick pro tip. Remember those witch specializations I mentioned earlier? That applies here. The blueprints each witch sells are tied to her specialty. So, if you are building for crit, go to Aresiel. If you want attack speed, go to Bari. Once you have your blueprints, head to any of the 4 main witches and select the Craft Abyss gear option. Under the first tab, Crafting, you will see a list of every Tier 1 standard Abyss gear you have unlocked so far. And this is important. You can only craft standard abyss gears here. Unique abyss gears cannot be crafted. The only way to get those is through drops. Next up is synthesis. And again, this only applies to standard abyss gears. The concept is simple. Take any two identical tier 1 standard abyss gears, bring them to a witch, select the synthesis tab, and you can fuse them into a single tier 2 version of that same gear. So, same gear but stronger effect. And you follow the exact same process to push it to tier 3. Take two identical tier 2 gears and fuse them into one tier 3. Here's a quick pro tip. Do the math before you start fusing. To get one tier 3 abyss gear, you actually need 4 tier 1 copies of that same gear. 2 to make your first tier 2, another 2 to make your second tier 2, then those 2 tier 2s fuse into your tier 3. So, if you're targeting a specific gear, make sure you're collecting 4 of them, not 2. Now, on top of regular synthesis, there is also something called special synthesis, and this one works a bit differently. Unlike regular synthesis, which always gives you a predictable result, special synthesis is a gamble. You're still combining 2 of the same abyss gears, but the output is completely random. Starting with T1 fusion. You put in 2 T1 gears, and here's what can happen. 50% of the time you get a T1 back, so you break even. 46% of the time you jump straight to a tier 2. And there is a 4% chance that you land a greater abyss gear. So, if you've got tier 1 gears sitting in your inventory that you are not using, T1 fusion is absolutely worth running. Nearly a coin flip for a free T2. T2 fusion follows the exact same pattern. 2 T2 gears in, 50% chance you stay at tier 2. 46% chance that you hit tier 3, and that same 4% shot at a greater abyss gear. Good odds if you have got spares. And this is the tricky part, T3 fusion. 2 tier 3 gears in, and 96% of the time you just get a tier 3 back. The greater abyss gear chance stays at 4%, so you're burning your most valuable gears for almost no gain. Don't chase greater abyss gears through tier 3 fusion, it's not worth it. Now, greater abyss gears are worth explaining quickly. They are stronger than a standard tier 3, but they come with a durability mechanic. They degrade over time and will eventually break, so the strategy here is simple. Keep tier 3 as your everyday setup, and only slot greater abyss gears when you are heading into a tough boss fight where you need that extra edge. Now, with synthesis you can put together some really powerful combinations. A good example is infinite arrows at tier 3. This gives you a 60% chance not to consume any ammunition on ranged attacks. That's massive. But here's the reality. Efficient synthesis means you need a lot of abyss gears, way more than you will ever be able to craft. So that brings us to farming. So far there are 4 known farm locations, and all of them are clustered around the same area, the Spire of Frost, which sits just north of the M in Demonis. If you happen to know of any other locations where this works, drop it in the comment section down below, so other players can find it. The first location is Frosthold Pass, just west of the Spire of Frost. The second is Frosthold, just south of Frosthold Pass. The third is Frosthold Entrance, just south of Frosthold, and the fourth is Icewatch Altar, a little northeast of the Spire of Frost. At all 4 locations, the enemies you are looking for are the Skull Knight followers, specifically the one carrying maces and shields. Those weapons contain abyss gears like Malice Bane and Fortitude, which is exactly what you're after. Now, here's how the farm actually works, and this is the tricky part. You are going to need 3 things: a small shield, a one-handed sword, and the shield bash skill unlocked. And instead of killing the enemies, you are going to disarm them. Use shield bash to knock the weapons out of their hands. Then pull out your pet so it automatically loots the dropped weapons and shields. The important part, and I cannot stress this enough, do not kill them. That's the entire trick. If you fully clear the camp, the enemies stop respawning and the farm is gone permanently for that save file. I learned this the hard way. I accidentally cleared Frosthold Pass, and that farm is just gone for me now. So let me show you exactly how to disarm them without triggering a kill. Let's take Icewatch Altar as our example. Before you do anything else, create a manual save file, just in case something goes wrong. Now approach the altar, but don't just start swinging. You need to be selective here. Kill the Frost Spitters and any enemies that use bows. These are fine to clear. But leave every enemy carrying a mace and shield completely untouched. If you do this correctly, the Icewatch Altar occupancy percentage should sit at around 33.33%. Keep an eye out on that number. If it starts dropping, you have accidentally killed one of the mace carriers, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid. Now, for the disarm, make sure you have a one-handed sword equipped, and ideally, a small round shield. You also need the shield bash skill unlocked. Here's exactly what to do. Hold the block button down. On PC, that's the control key. Keep it held. Let the enemy hit you once with their mace. Then, immediately after they hit you, while still holding the block button, do a heavy attack. Your character will slam them with the shield, and you will see the weapon and shield fly right off them onto the ground. The key detail here, you have to let them hit you first. If you press block right before the impact, you will trigger a different attack entirely, and the disarm will not happen. So the sequence is block button always held, take the hit, heavy attack. That's it. Before you start, make sure your pet is out for auto-looting, and that you have enough inventory space. Once you have disarmed everyone in the area and your pet has picked everything up, simply run out of the area, exit combat, and teleport to the nearest Abyss Nexus. Then head straight back. The maces and shields on the enemies will have respawned. Rinse and repeat. Just keep checking that occupancy percentage to make sure it stays at 33.33%. Once your inventory is full, head to any witch. Extract the Abyss gears, then sell the maces and shields. Rinse and repeat. Alright, we are getting close to the end of the video, but before I wrap things up, I want to show you exactly what I am running right now. This is definitely not best in slot, and it's far from being perfectly optimized. But it is what is working for me, and that's honestly part of the fun of this system. Abyss gears let you build around your own playstyle. There's no single right answer here. So, let's start with headgear. Your headgear gives you one Abyss gear slot, and my favorite choice here is Momentum. Momentum gives you a flat plus 35% boost to turning slash damage. Now, if you're not familiar with turning slash, it is the skill right here. You activate it by pressing light attack and heavy attack at the same time. It's one of those skills that's easy to overlook, but once you're using it consistently, a 35% damage increase on top of it is pretty massive. So for that one headgear slot, Momentum is an easy pick for me. Next up is chest. Now, normally your chest piece comes with 3 Abyss gear slots, but I'm actually not running a standard chest right now. I am running the Cuckoo Flame Resistant Armor. Here's something worth knowing if you have been running this piece for a while. In previous versions of the game, this armor had 0 Abyss gear slots, none. But a recent update changed that, and they added 1 slot to it. So, if you are running this chest and you haven't checked it since the update, go back and take a look. For that 1 slot, I am running Gourmet level 3. What it actually does is boost every effect on a food item by 3 levels across the board. So, take braised ribs. The base stats are plus 320 health, plus 24 spirit, and dice resistance level 4. Pop that with Gourmet level 3 slotted, and you are getting plus 381 health, plus 31 spirit, and ice resistance level 7 instead. In a sticky situation, a tough boss, or a close fight, that extra bump from a single slot adds up fast. Moving on to gloves. Gloves give you 2 Abyss gear slots. Now, before I go into what I have slotted in, here is a quick pro tip. If you slot critical hit rate into gloves or boots, it will not add to your weapon's critical hit rate. Instead, it will add to unarmed combat. So unless you are running an unarmed build, always avoid critical hit rate on gloves and boots. My choice here is 2 Haste 3 Abyss gears, which bump my total movement speed by 6. For boots, also 2 slots, I went with 2 Swift 3, adding 6 points to attack speed. Next up is my bow. Bows give you 5 slots, so there's a lot of room to work with here. My first 2 slots are infinite arrows, one at tier 3, which gives a 60% chance not to consume arrows on each shot, and one at tier 2, which adds another 40%. Combined, that essentially brings me to infinite arrows. Now, I know what you're thinking. I already researched infinite arrows at Pororin Village. And here's the thing. That research version only applies to normal arrows, which are the weakest in the game. The Abyss Gear version applies to all arrows, including explosive arrows. So, what you're effectively getting is unlimited explosive arrows. That's a significant advantage. On top of that, I have slotted 3 inside tier 3 gears, which add 9 critical hit rate directly to my bow. Next, my main weapon. I'm running a 2-handed sword, which gives you 5 Abyss Gear slots. One-handed swords, by comparison, give you 3. Now, remember those unique abyss gears I mentioned earlier? This is where they actually show up in my setup. I've got Ator's Orb slotted in. That's the one that fires explosive projectiles on heavy attack. And next to it, Ground Surge, which shatters the ground in a frontal cone to deal damage. Both are unique gears, so they're adding abilities I simply wouldn't have otherwise. To round it out, I've got 3 inside tier 3 gears, adding another 9 critical hit rate directly to the sword. Last but not least, my shield. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're running a two-handed weapon, you're never actively using the shield. But here's where things get interesting. Even with the shield on your back, its defense rating still contributes to your total defense. And that's exactly why I slotted in 2 fortification tier 3 gears, adding a total of 18 defense. Here's a quick pro tip. If you slotted Aegis 3 here instead, which gives damage reduction, that damage reduction won't actually apply to your build, because you're not actively blocking with the shield. So, in this case, fortification is the best way to go, as you get the full benefits passively. And that's everything you need to know about Abyss Gears in Crimson Desert. We covered what they actually are, how the tier and affinity system works, how to get them through looting, crafting and synthesis. And I walked you through my full personal setup and the reasoning behind every slot. If you're just getting started, don't overthink it. Focus on getting your first switch unlocked. Start farming for inside gears and build from there. If this guide helped you at all, drop a like, subscribe, and leave a random comment down below. It really helps push the video to more people. And if there is a specific mechanic or system you want me to cover next, let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.